Hello to all of you in fly tying land. Pete here at Spawn Fly Fish, and we've got a fun one today. So this fly is going to be a variant off of my Rocktober Caddis. There's not always caddis popping off in the water, but there's always something, almost always something hatching. What about beetles? Think beetle, think ant, and then think, well, how do I incorporate a fly that catches a ton of fish, floats all day, but now I need it to mimic a different bug? And that's why I'm here. So let's get into this. In the vise, we've got the Ahrex FW531, size 12. I'm going to start some thread here. I've just got some 6/0 black. And of course, 140D would be great. 70 denier would be great. You don't have to make this super complicated, folks. Let's try to keep it as easy as possible. Just going to give myself sort of an indicator of where I want my first few elements to be tied in. And then this tells me don't go past this, all that good stuff. So I'm giving myself visual cues on that hook as we go. First thing I'm tying in, right? Tell me another dry fly you see where they tie wire as the first element. So this is some very fine gold wire. Extra small would be the size you're looking for, and make sure it's tiny. If you can't find wire that small, or you just don't want to, by all means there are options. You could probably get by with a small piece of Flashaboo, or even a piece of crystal flash. Thread might work if it's small enough and bright. You need that contrast kind of deal. Outside of that, this is the answer, at least for me. All right, next we're going to tie in a piece of Peacock Herl. And the way I like to tie this in is so that the convex, or top of the hurl, is facing upward. So like if I were looking at this, it's going to be facing me or facing the sky. As it turns, it's facing you, but it's still the convex side. It's not the concave side. And as we begin to wrap this hurl, I'll explain why that matters. For all intents and purposes, it really doesn't. But if you're OCD like I am, boy, it kind of does. All right, so let's come back down one more time. And then our last element for the body anyway is a piece of 2mm thin fly foam from Hareline, and this in black. You see I've rounded out a little bit so I have an easier tie-in spot. And as far as the width on this, it's about 1/8 of an inch. It's actually slightly less than the gap of this hook. And for most dry flies, you're going to be looking for a piece of foam slightly larger than the hook gap, or right at the hook gap. But we're wrapping this. We're not bringing it over the top or any of that. So just slightly less than hook gap. And I've tied a bunch of these and it just works the best. Right there. What I'm looking for here is to make sure I have coverage all the way back, so that when I wrap that first wrap of foam, I don't have a gap between the foam and my thread where I tied in the other elements. Key here is to not crowd the front section. So if you see, we come down the curve a little bit on this hook for a reason. We still want a very full body, but we don't want to crowd that front portion, especially that last 1/3. So keep that in mind as we tie. And as you're tying this at home, that first one, might have to tie it maybe twice or 3 times even to get this spacing correct. Don't fret, be patient, it'll all work out. All right, let's start wrapping this foam. And first thing I'm gonna do, forgive me for a second, I'm gonna tip the vise upside down here, or the hook in the vise upside down, so that I missed that hook point. And as I'm wrapping this foam, you see it's ever so slightly an overlap kind of move, and I'm giving it a little tension then as I go, so that I don't get this really big bulked up foam body, right? The foam itself is going to float like crazy, so we don't need to compound an issue of closing out that hook gap. That's not what we're doing. Let the foam, with a little tension, just kind of not eat up all that hook gap and still provide the floating qualities that foam does. So I like the positioning here of where we ended that foam. Let me go ahead and carefully trim all that out. And let's get into this body here. So again, if we're thinking in the mindset of beetles or, you know, smaller, darker hoppers, whatever it might be, peacock, right? That's the answer. 99% of the time, at least for me, is the answer. Now, we talked a little bit about tying this in so that the curve, right? Every feather has a curve. And off of the quill, those fibers go a certain direction. And we're just trying to make sure that, at least I am, when I start to wrap this thing, that those fibers, even, you know, it's a tiny fiber coming off, but you see how they're kind of going toward the front there? I don't want those going toward the front. I want them flowing toward the back, like any other hackle. So I tried it going toward you, but didn't want to go. But if I come toward me first, you see that? There's your cheat code. Whether you tie it in properly or not, sometimes it's Peacock Herl. It wants to give a little twist. Oh, this is how you find out. Give it that first wrap or two. See which way those fibers are going. I am, again, OCD. I want them all flowing back that way, even though it's peacock. And you really can't tell all that much. Again, it's just me. So don't let that be a deciding factor for you. But if you want to know the method to the madness, there you have it. All right, so at this point, we've got our hurl wrapped, evenly spaced wraps. And at this point, get my thread out of the way. I feel pretty good about how secure that peacock is tied in, so I'm going to trim it out. So since I came toward myself with the peacock, I want to really reinforce with this wire in the rib, so I'm going to go the opposite direction. One thing I am going to be mindful of is not trapping the peacock fibers that we just put in, and so I simply will give a little wiggle or a little agitation, if you will, to this wire the entire time I am wrapping it in evenly spaced wraps that match the spacing of our hackle or our peacock herl. And there we have it. And this, of course, is inspired very heavily from the Bloody Mary body style, which is a great nymph. If you've not fished it or tied it, boy oh boy, you're missing out, and I strongly recommend it. Trout love it. All right, there's our body. Not crazy, right? Not super difficult, but the important thing here is your spacing and all that good stuff. So now we still need to add our wing. That wing will provide our head, and then we're going to give some legs in here and some hackle for that thorax so that this thing just floats all day. All right, so you hear that little tappy tap. It's a good indicator that I've got some hair in a hair stacker, and today that hair is bleached elk hair. And let me see how our stack did. Not great. I've got one or two bent hairs in there, but we're not going to fret. All right, so as far as what I'm looking at, I don't want this sitting way back from the body. I don't want to sit in front of the body. Ever so slightly behind the butt is what I'm going for. And on this one, it's a little unique. I can start a little closer to the eye than normal. And I'm just going to get a soft wrap and then pull up. And now I can give tension on the way down and continue that tension. And I'll simply keep wrapping back. I have not once let go of that pinch, that initial pinch in my off tying hand. And so what should give me, if I do this properly, is get that wing tied all the way back to that foam. And then when we release, we have a wing that sits on top of the body, not on the sides, and has full coverage on the top like that. That is the goal. And when you do what you're supposed to do, sometimes it even works out. All right. So again, let's talk about this head real quick, because I'm going to bring that thread back up. And one thing, I'm going to lift all these fibers, and then I'm going to use my offhand to creep that thread, and you want to give it some tension here, all the way up to the hook eye, like so. But I don't want to have trouble tying this onto my tippet. And so now at this point, be patient. I'll raise all those hairs back and up and get my thread working in there. And what I'm going to build here is a little thread dam so that when I release these butts, they can only come down so far. Now they're on that bump and they can't go flat against that hook eye. And that's going to, one, make it super easy to tie on to your tippet. And two, once we cut this, this is what provides that very distinguishable shape or of the head, right? So if you're fishing dark caddis, this will be great. It'll work just fine. But it's not so distinct to the caddis as to not work for other bugs, right? So there we go. There is our head. As cute as you please. I'm just going to get my scissors in here, and these last little fibers of elk hair that don't need to be in here, I'm not going to mess with them. We're just going to eliminate. So it's just be as cute with that as you wish to be. That looks pretty good to me. All right. Easy enough. At this point, let's get our hackle tied in. And for today, I've got a variant feather. So off this saddle of variant, this was a very dark feather. It looks black, but it's actually just incredibly dark brown. And if you notice, like up toward the top, it gets even into some grizzly. Really cool feather. I have stripped out the leading edge because I know a lot of you don't get into this, and that's fine. I really like the look. That's all it is again making myself happy on the vise. Look at the this cleaned out spot that I've created for the tie-in. The key here, don't tie your feather in up to that first barb. You don't want that. You want to tie it into about here so that when you lift this feather and begin wrapping, this is the first portion here. And then you don't get those fibers of hackle that are going straight back or straight forward or out of line. Just something to keep in mind. We don't tie right up to that first fiber. We keep that separate so that we don't have any fibers going the wrong direction. Let me just test this guy here. It's not going to work. It wants to twist a little bit. So be mindful. Check your work before you get too far where it can't be undone. Once you've gotten to that point of no return, that'll make you cry. All right. Let's try it again. So at this point, that one hair right there. That's a thread wrap issue. Missed it by one. There we go. So now when we start that, it's going to come in nice and clean. Should be no issue. That's great. So as far as these legs go, keeping it simple, just got the perfect rubber leg from, actually I'm not sure, I think it's a Hedron product from Hareline, and in black. Again, round rubber, any of that's going to be great. Nothing crazy, except for the only difference is we're not going to tie these like a typical V. We're actually going to get these started and then bring the thread all the way to the front and all the way to the back. So we're going to have these legs splayed on the outsides of the thorax, if you will, instead of coming out from the middle of the thorax. And again, it's not anything hard, fast. There's no fly tying police are going to come get you if you tie this a different way. I'm simply showing you how I tie it. And there we go. So at this point, if you really needed to, much like a stimulator or something like that, you could come in with another hot spot color for that thorax and grab, when the hackle goes in. But again, trying for something a little bit more natural of a beetle sort of feel, I'm just going to leave this as dark as I can. And so we're just going to leave that as thread. And now some straight up, straight down, tiny bit forward as you go. And that's as clean as you can get on that hackle. And again, you don't have to peel that. That's strictly a me thing. Or if you do like to strip the hackle, well, then it's a you thing as well. But don't feel like you need to do that. All right, very carefully going to get in here with our scissor and get at that quill. Yahtzee. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut these legs early. And so for the back portion, I'm looking at something just to the end of the fly. For the front portion here, as much as they look, you know, like legs and perform like legs, they can also flip forward and perform like antennae. And just trying to match it up ever so slightly to those back legs would be great. At this point, we'll just whip finish. And just be mindful, keep paying attention to your thread here. You don't want to completely, you know, annihilate the hackle that you just put in there, but you also don't want to crowd that neck too much. So let's just go with one whip finish, no tension, trim that out ever so nicely. And what we have now is still a lot of space above the hook eye. So when we go to thread that onto our tippet material, zero issue. And we've all been there, and we've had that fly that we just were so excited to fish, and be it crowded from head cement or mistied elk hair like could have been, right? All these things. So it's those little differences. Paying attention to the little stuff makes a huge difference on the water. So there we go. We have some head cement here. We got some Loon hardhead clear, and we are just simply covering all those thread wraps. And there you have it, folks. So this is a nondescript searching version, beetle version of the Rocktober Caddis. And again, we're just going to call this the Rocktober Beetle. And any odd terrestrials on the water, crickets, you name it, by all means, this will catch fish. This will get it done. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and we will see you all on the water.